till he's in it so we can be sure that all 10 people are here. Okay. Tonight I'm going to speak to you all about dessert. Several years ago I went to Le Cordon Bleu Culinary Arts School and got a degree in culinary arts. I learned a lot about cooking and baking techniques during that time. Before going to culinary school, I spent a lot of time watching Food Network and practicing those skills that I learned watching TV in my own family kitchen. I learned how to improvise in the kitchen, and I learned how to distinguish what was a good recipe from a bad recipe. The one thing I never worked on was baking, and it was because I was intimidated. And the reason why I was intimidated by baking is because baking is a science. Whereas with cooking, if you make a mistake, you can fix your recipe usually by altering something, but baking you can't do that. You have to start over from scratch. So I think this is the reason, in my experience, that most people don't bake their own desserts when they're having a special occasion, is because it's too much work to go to make a mistake and then have to start over again. So tonight I'm going to teach you all how to make a homemade dessert, s'mores ice cream cake. It's easy and delicious, and I made it for my son's 13th birthday recently, and it was a crowd pleaser. First, I'm going to show you how to make homemade graham crackers. Next, I'll explain to you how to make toasted marshmallow ice cream. And then last, I'll show you how to put it all together. So the first step is your graham crackers. And I'm going to explain to you how to make the dough because of the restrictions here. We can't exactly make that in the amount of time that we have. So the first thing that you're going to need to do to make the dough is to combine all of your ingredients. First, you'll gather all your dry ingredients, which is flour, sugar, salt, and baking soda. And then you will whisk all of your wet ingredients together, honey, vanilla, and milk. You'll take some frozen butter, and you will mix it into your dry ingredients. Once that has been thoroughly mixed together, you will combine that with your wet ingredients and make it into a well-formed dough. It'll be sticky, but that'll be okay. And I'll tell you why. After you've made your dough, you'll wrap it in plastic wrap, flatten it out, and put it in the refrigerator for 2 hours to chill. Once the dough is chilled, you're going to need to roll it out. So to roll it out, you'll make sure you use plenty of flour. A lot of recipes call for you to sprinkle flour or lightly flour, but this recipe, because the dough is sticky, you use a lot of flour so that it doesn't stick to your surfaces. And then the best thing about making your own graham crackers is that you have flexibility in the shape of the dessert. Tonight, I made round ones, but you can make them rectangular or square, whatever shape you want them to be, so that you can make the dessert you want. So, and that being said, you also have the ability to use store-bought graham crackers for this. You don't have to make your own. The next thing you're going to want to do to prepare it for baking is you'll cut your graham cracker into the shape that you want it to be, and you will dust off the excess flour. You'll put it on the baking sheet, put it in the oven, 350, 15 to 17 minutes, and it's done. You'll let it cool, and you have yourself a graham cracker. So once your graham crackers are done, you will move on to your ice cream. Your ice cream can be made several ways. You can make your ice cream homemade. I did that for my son's birthday. Or there are several alternate methods for your ice cream. The first one I'll tell you about is that you can opt for a flavor that's not even toasted marshmallow. You can go with a different flavor altogether if you don't want that, because the flavor of graham cracker and fudge goes well with just about any flavor of ice cream. So you can do that, and that's easy. The other thing you can do is toast your marshmallows, which usually is about a bag of marshmallows to a normal size container of ice cream. Soften up your ice cream and get your marshmallows mixed into your ice cream. And I would use vanilla for that. And then you'll have a toasted marshmallow flavored ice cream. And of course you'll refreeze it to make sure that it's good and solid. And that's one of the things that I did for my son's birthday as well. The next method is to make the ice cream yourself. In order to do that, you need to have an ice cream maker. I have a KitchenAid at home, and I have an ice cream bowl for that. And so the way that you would do that is according to the manufacturer's directions. KitchenAid recommends that you freeze your bowl 15 hours prior to making your ice cream. You'll make your ice cream base by mixing milk and cream together along with sugar on a stove, cooking it until the sugar dissolves, pouring it into a blender, and adding your toasted marshmallows and the rest of the milk and sugar, or milk and cream, into there, blending it, letting that cool, putting it in your mixer's bowl according to manufacturer's directions, and which usually takes about 20 minutes for it to come to ice cream consistency. And you'll throw that into the freezer in an airtight container, and you have ice cream. So then the last thing that you need to do to make this dessert is assemble it, which is pretty simple. Since I did round ones, since I did a round form, I made these little plastic forms to put around my graham crackers so I could set them in the bottom. And first, you take your hot fudge and you just smooth it on to your graham cracker. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a little bit messy because you'll put it in the freezer, and this will melt a little bit anyways. So you put that in there, you'll have your form on, and then you'll take a scoop of your ice cream. Mine's a little melty. And you'll put it on top. After this layer, especially since it's so melty, you would want to put it in the freezer and let that freeze and set, and then repeat that 2 more times. Once that, and when you put it back in the freezer, you'll put it in for about 20 minutes to let it set again. And then you'll take another graham cracker, more hot fudge, more ice cream. Quickly, one of the mistakes I made when I made this dessert was I layered graham cracker, then ice cream, and then had to try and spread hot fudge onto cold ice cream, and the fudge seized right away, meaning that it didn't want to spread or move. And so that makes it very difficult to work with this dessert at that point. So once you've got all of that together, and you've got your 3 layers, you will take your form off. You'll remove it. I did a rectangular cake for my son's birthday and used a pan for that. It appears the tape is frozen as well. So you've got your 3 layers, and it's not like this because it's been frozen 3 times. So it's all nice and set. The easiest thing to do at this point is just another one. I'm going to spread it on the bottom of this one so that it stays. And there we go. So we've done that several times now. Frozen, not melting all over the place. You'll take your mini marshmallows and pile them on top. And once you have as many as you want on top, or can fit, you'll use something to toast them. I have a little torch. Another good tool would be one of the long big lighters that a lot of people use for campfires and things like that, to toast them. So you'll just toast them up until they are evenly browned. They might light on fire a little bit, that's okay. Just blow it out. And that is that. So you see, making your dessert doesn't have to take a lot of time. There's a lot of flexibility in how you make it. But with a little extra time and planning, anybody can make this type of dessert. Any questions?
We're good.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
I forgot so much of it I didn't go
Hold on, it's still
through.
going.